welcome back to our channel. This is AfricaChat. Today I have a really nice and a special guest. Her name is Justina. I'm just going to have her present herself and introduce herself as well to the channel. So it's over to you now,
Yeah.
Justina.
All right. My name's Justina Ponsa. I don't really know what all do you want to know? Do you background or anything in particular?
You could just give us a little bit of background about yourself. She's from Ghana too, so I'm asking you if you can give us a little bit of background. I already gave myself the background on this channel, how I came here and how I'm doing now or where I'm at. So over
Yeah.
to you.
So I moved here from Ghana when I was 5. Well, I currently live in Texas, but I moved to North Carolina with my mom and my mom, dad, and 3 brothers. And I lived in North Carolina most of my life. Went to high school in Greensboro. Moved to Charlotte, North Carolina for college. Went to the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. I did my undergrad and grad school there. And then after I graduated grad school, decided I wanted to move to a slightly bigger city. I was I like big cities, and Charlotte to me is the only semi big city in North Carolina. So I felt like it was time for me to expand. So I moved over to Dallas,
That's
and
true.
I currently work as a software consultant. And yeah, that's a little bit about my background in a very high level nutshell.
And then I did see she loves muzzle vehicles too. How's your vehicle
Oh yeah,
doing? How's your
she's
car
doing
doing?
good. Don't ask me any technical specs about it because I don't know. I just like the way it looks.
I know most
Yeah,
people don't. Most people, like I always say, most people just like
yeah,
how the car looks, and if it starts, when they turn it
yeah.
on, they just
That's me.
drive. And whereas some of us, we just want to see the car ins and out, how it was made, how it was put together, how fast it can go, and all of that stuff. Personally, I'm a muscle car fan as well. Mopar, muzzle for life. But I now own I think I own a Audi
Okay.
Q7 from Germany. But I'll come back to muzzle. I've always wanted to
Yeah.
try something else. So a friend of mine, when I had a Durango. Well, before now, I did had a Dodge Charger, what is it? The RT 395 Scat Pack, and I was having a baby, so
Yeah.
the car couldn't accommodate the baby. So I went ahead and got a Durango, which is almost literally an SUV version of it, of the Charger. But somewhere down the line, I don't know, maybe I was driving the vehicle too much, and it just started acting up. So I decided to get rid of it and maybe get something that, because most muscle cars, they're just mostly
Yeah.
known for speed and not durability at all. So that it wasn't. I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't durable. It was. I just didn't think that it would help moving forward to buy another one of it. So a friend of mine gave me an advice to
Yeah.
get something else, and he lives in Germany. So of course he
Yeah.
recommended a German vehicle, which is the Q7. And I've never driven that car, but when I went on a test drive, I liked it. I liked the technology in there. And the way when I'm on the highway, there's a setting where you can actually see yourself. The camera,
But
not
like the
yourself as a
car.
person, but you could see the vehicle live on
That's
the
nice.
highway. When there's a debris on the road, you could literally. I thought at first I thought, oh, this is just a picture 3D, somewhat AI, but no, it's an actual camera. I saw debris on the car on the road. I got really close to it, and then I drove past it, and I could still see
Wow.
it on my camera. So I was like, okay, I want this car, and that's how come I actually don't have any Dodge or American car, but I will come back
Okay.
later. All right, so enough for that. Let's start it from the top. I wanted to talk about some of the things that we did talk about in the DM
Yeah.
a while back that I think you made so much sense, and coming from a woman's point of view, there was a lot of sense that came from there. I mean, not all. I'm not saying because you're a woman you will be able to answer the questions correct. Some of us men also know some of the things that you may have to say as a woman, even though we are not women. So, first of all, I wanted to ask some of the things that we were talking about brought about the question, and then I did see around that people were actually just talking about it recently. Is what do you think about monogamy and polygamy type of relationship or marriage? What do you think about it? What are your views about it?
My personal views, I'm just gonna lay the ground and say I'm a very open minded person. So I'm the type of person where my beliefs I don't like to push on to other people because everyone's free to live their life how they want. But so
True.
I personally don't believe in polygamy, but if people, like polygamous relationships, I like to say that's their business as long as we can coexist in harmony and whatever the agreement, I believe like whatever the agreement is between the individuals that are in that relationship, that's their business as long as they choose not to impose it on anyone else.
Right. Right. So tell me this. I was reading somewhere when this we decided to meet and talk. I wanted to look at some of the things that were related to
Mm-hmm.
what we talked about, and I was really surprised when I saw that. It's well, I could be wrong. If you know it, correct me. If anybody knows it, they could just put it in the comment as well. But it says that in America, about 50% of the marriages actually end in the first 1 to 5 years, and I was like, whoa. They really it was just they just laid it out there, and the person went ahead and made a lot of like suggestions and ideas of why they think that is. So in your own view, what do you think as a person? I mean, I'm
Mm-hmm.
married. We are coming on 5 years this year in August, and I mean it's difficult. Marriage is difficult. It's probably one of the most hardest things I've
Yeah.
ever had to do. But yeah, so there are certain things that I think that we've been through or we've actually encountered during this journey that didn't come to my mind as a person for me to just get up and leave. So I don't know. I mean, is there anything that you actually think about off of your head that you think contribute to people leaving the marriages like that early?
Yeah. The number one thing that comes to my mind is communication, but honestly, I feel like that's also my answer for a lot of things because you can how you communicate with people or what you're communicating isn't always understood the same. And so I feel like if people get a basic
Yeah.
groundwork or basic understanding of each other and how they communicate, people would know how to communicate to each other. And half of the problems that they experience probably wouldn't even happen. So I think a lot of it is people don't know how to communicate properly, and not that they don't know how to communicate properly. They don't know how their partner likes to be communicated to either, and they don't take the time to learn.
Right, right. And then I also think that well, in my own understanding, where I saw, well, there are a lot of people that the time that we got married,
Mm.
that were getting married or got married after or before, right about the same time. And looking back, some of them were actually really close friends and they just got separated. And then simply some of the things that I actually captured from that, from what you said, yeah, the number one thing I think, even in this world, lack of communication started
Yeah,
wars.
exactly.
Lack of communication started a whole lot of stuff that we're still dealing with. Look at two countries, Ukraine and Russia. It's lack of communication. This one wants their point proven, and the other guy wants their point proven, thinking that okay, well, I'm right, you're wrong, and the other person thinks the exact same thing in
Yeah,
reverse, and that's okay. Well, sure, let's fight. That's what causes some of these things. And yeah, you made a very sensible and interesting point as well. And I also think that I've seen people like men and women in relationship or marriage, for example, that has this I call it the complex attitude where they come to a point in their life. It's like, oh yeah, I did this all by
hmm
myself before I
yeah,
met you, blah blah blah. So it's my way
yeah,
or the highway. In as much as that's kind of like a subset of communication, but that's a totally if you ask me, it's a totally completely different thing
Mhm.
overall, and it stands on its own because well, they're communicating, but then this person says, It's my way.
Yeah.
It's got to be like this, or it's got to be done that way, or the highway. What do you think about that? What do you
I
think
think
about
the
such
thing
people?
is, people, I feel like communication isn't as simple as people make it. So people think communicating is simply talking to each other, and I don't believe that that's all that there is to communication. So like having you can communicate or you could talk to someone, but lacking understanding and comprehension will get you nowhere. So I think most of the time people don't communicate with one another to actually understand each other. So the whole like it's my way or the highway type of attitude, I think comes from the lack of wanting to understand the other person's point of view and actually looking outside of yourself to see other people's perspective and more so about I mean that's where selfishness comes in at that point too because you don't care
Yeah,
to understand other people to actually communicate with them effectively, you kind of result to selfish tendencies and just think everything should be your way because that's the only way you know.
yeah, yeah. Putting what you just said in the computer terms. I can't remember right now from my head what the process is called, but for a computer to
Mm-hmm.
go online, there's a communication that happens. Some of you could call it the
Yeah.
OSI module. What it means in short explanation is the the computer contacts a server, the DNS server, and then the contact is in communication, and then the DNS respond back to the computer with the response that it has. And then the computer says, okay, yeah, sure, I could deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the DNS says, okay, yeah, sure, here you go. So basically, the computer leases an IP address and all the other information that really not it's not necessary for this topic. But when it contacts the DNS says, okay, well, you're looking for maybe 5 T-shirts, or I have only 2.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want it? And the computer, yeah, sure. I mean, at least 2 is better. It takes the 2, and then it
Yeah.
proceeds to go online. Well, that most of the time it only has 3 days. At least the DNS leases the computer 3 days of information that it needs to survive online or go online, and then later on, it'll come back again and recommunicate, and then it will renew the lease, and the computer still proceeds to go online. Most people don't know. The first time I actually learned about it, I was so excited. I was like, really? So communication is actually really the key here because even computers
Yeah.
have to communicate. They have to talk to each other to have a network going, to
Yeah.
have everything online, to have things going in the right way. If you have one switch, yesterday I was having this issue at work, reclamation plants, where how the system works. The water goes into the houses from the water company. People use them. It goes back down the drain. Have you ever told where your water goes when it goes into the drain?
Wait, I
Yeah,
would say
most
where
people
does
don't.
it go?
Exactly. It goes back down into a drain. There's a really powerful pumps. It pumps it back to where I work. I'm in the office all day, so but there are people that deal with that part. They're big machines that filters the dirt out of the actual water, cleans it in the 7 different stages, and then it comes back to our system, and then the system cleans it again, and it pushes it back into a river, and then the water company takes it again, clean it, do their own processes, and then push it back out. By the time it's ready to leave our facility
Mm-hmm.
or our plant, you can actually drink the water
Okay.
again. And it's all communication. It's all communication. There's a switch though. So there's a switch a lot of switches that when I started the company I thought that were old. Some of them have been working before I was even born.
Wow.
That's how long these switches and computers have worked. Long time. So there was the understanding that yeah, sure, if you could swap them out, that would be fine. So basically, my current duty is just reconfiguring these switches to modernize it a little bit, taking it. They're reluctant to go
Mm-hmm.
to the cloud, so I'm kind of like pushing it a little bit one at a time. So now I'm clear to replace the old switches with the new ones, and the new ones are refusing to communicate with the old ones are refusing to communicate with the new ones because the new ones have so much technology that the old ones like, wait a minute, I'm
Yeah.
not doing this. I can basically, from my understanding as an engineer, that's what I see. There's a pushback. It's like, wait a minute, this is not how we did it. For 20
Yeah.
years, we didn't do it like this. Basically, that's what the system is saying. And it's really interesting because even machines, again, you would find like to communicate. So I had to come up with a plan to get the old ones to accept the new ones and maybe reduce how smart the new ones are and get it all changed out. And then I can raise it back to the new ones to be like, okay, well, if it's at a level 100 now, I'm going to bring it to a level 50. Once I'm able to swap all the old ones out, I can bring it back to 100 because
Yeah.
it's all new now. They can communicate. So you're making a really good point. I actually also noticed on your Instagram that you created a new fitness page, if I should call it, and tell us about it. Are you trying to looking at monetize it in the end, or is it just a hobby? And you actually also do have a
Yeah. So,
partner. So tell
my
us
friend
about
and
that.
I, she's my workout partner, and we decided to go ahead and create a fitness page just because we get a lot of questions on a day to day about what our fitness looks like what we do, what we eat, all of that good stuff. And my brother's a personal trainer actually. I don't know if you knew, but he,
Yeah, I seen
yeah,
his page. Ooh, I want to be
yeah,
like him. I've been watching his videos. I actually followed him when you posted
yeah.
it to follow him, and then I was like, okay, okay. So I've been checking. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I've been checking out his
Yeah. And
channel.
so he's always once I got into he's a big part of the reason why I started like taking my own fitness journey really seriously. But he's always like kind of pushed for us to make a page because he's like people are interested. They want to, they want to see how you got to where you are. Like they
We
want to see
are.
the journey, and it's also more relatable when you're actually still going through it yourself and people are asking you tips. So we finally decided to just create the page. The end goal, I would say, probably is to like monetize it, get some sponsorships mainly or something like that from it. But as of right now, we're basically using it to just motivate people and kind of bring everyone with us on our journey to see what we do on a day to day and what our health looks like.
And it's working. It's working. When I followed your brother, I looked at myself and I'm like, damn. Well, when I was a teen, I used to look like that, or maybe a little bit like that. And over the years, I'm looking at myself, and I think recently when my son turned 1, and then we did a
Hmm.
1 year birthday, and one of my friends came. He's like, "Dude, what are you doing? If I didn't know you, I wouldn't have recognized you from." We did have a picture together like
Yeah.
10 years ago, and he pulled it out from his phone. He's like, what the heck? What happened to you, man? You just let yourself go like that?" So that really kind of like
Yeah.
knocked me on my head. And ever since, I have been going to the gym. So yeah, it's really motivating. And most of the things that I'm doing now, I'm looking at from your brother's page. I'm just sneak peeking, looking at it. Okay, well,
Yeah.
how did he do that? How did he get? Because I seen his kind of like journey on his page, and it really shows where he posted. And didn't he lose his other
He
page?
did.
Because I thought he actually
Yeah,
posted
he
that
he
he did
lost
lose his other
his
page
other
or
page.
whatever.
I think got hacked. I don't know. He lost his page, but he made a new one. So
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that I'm looking at it. I'm looking from where he started, where he's at. Well, it'll be nice to get that ripped, but right now my goal is just not to look how
yeah.
I look right now. You know how I look right, because I didn't always look like this. I used to look
Mhm.
much different, and I was much skinnier than I don't know what happened. Like when my friend was like, I mean, he was in a jovial way saying it, but then I like friends like that. I appreciate people
Keep the
that
honest.
put the friendship on the line to tell
Yeah.
you the truth, and most people don't like to hear the truth just because the
Yeah.
truth kind of hurts. But well, in this case, I wasn't hurt. I don't want to say that I did. I wasn't hurt. It was something that I had been
Mm.
talking about over time, and I just I will go to the gym when my body starts to look different. I will just so I know, yep. Before I know, I'm back again to not
Yeah.
finishing my journey. But this changed everything. I have a son. I want to look. He's like, don't you want to look better, stronger, and know that you are actually healthy, at least for your son? And I have a new motivation now. I am doing this for
Yeah.
me first of all, but I'm doing it for my family as well, so I could be fit. We're still young. I'm not that old to not be able to. Because yesterday I was telling my wife when I went to the gym, and then there was this guy. I asked him. He said he was 62, and man, that man is ripped. I was like, how do you do this? He's like, yeah, I just do it. I just show up. I just do it.
And it becomes
I
routine.
didn't even do this. Yeah, he just shows up and does the routine, and I look like this over time. But he's like, but it's not gonna happen in
Yeah.
1 month. It's not gonna. That was the
Yeah.
takeaway home for me. It's not gonna happen because I'm looking at. I've been going for like every day. Only 2 days out of the week is